That's worse. I had 2 lives. I can come on holidays 2 weeks and go to Freetown and have good education. They're stuck here. So that deprivation, without energy, your life shuts down at 7 o'clock.
And it's not just the youth that he sees being challenged by the lack of energy.
The people walk 7-8 kilometers to go to their farms. On the way back home, you can see women carrying wood on their head, maybe with a child on their back. If they've not collected water from the well, they go back and collect water. So think about it. With energy, you can pump the water. With energy, they don't have to collect the wood or cut the forest. They have energy at home. My home here does not have. So I live and preach what I know. And I believe it's the same for 1.4 billion people around the world.
After finishing university in Sierra Leone, where he majored in agriculture, Yumkela left this environment for a trip across the Atlantic Ocean. He was 23. He chose Cornell University in the United States. At Cornell, electricity was available night and day. Continuing his studies of agriculture, he was introduced to many new ideas.
In the United States, I was lucky that I was trained within what they call the land grant system. In the land grant agricultural universities, Cornell, Illinois, Michigan State, our job was to do analysis to benefit rural farming communities. So whatever analysis we did, the question we had to answer is, so what does it mean for the farmers? What does it mean for the agribusiness community? And that rural economy.
Like his father, Yumkela will always be a farmer, even later when he went from student to teacher.
The university was happy to have me, because in the agricultural or international development classes, they were happy to have somebody on the faculty that had seen it firsthand.
But in between his transition from student to teacher, the devotion to his country called him home. After a decade in the U.S., Yumkela answered a call to come back to Sierra Leone and serve as a government minister during the war. President Joseph Mama's government was attacked by the Paramilitary Revolution United Front. They were backed by the Liberian warlord Charles Taylor, who was later taken to the International Criminal Court for his war crimes, including actions committed in Sierra Leone. The Civil War was to last more than a decade. It was a dangerous time.
It was sad, because I know we were called the Athens of Africa, and suddenly the only statistic people remembered about us was the ravages of war, the cutting of people's limbs. But it was good for me to be home and see the devastation and talk to market women and see blood on the bags of rice when trucks were ambushed by rebels or some other people. I remember flying into the southern province when the rebels had cut off the road and nobody would go in. 5 of us ministers said we will go back there, because that's where I went to school. So we flew in by helicopter.
Yumkela attacked his new position with the usual frantic energy. Despite the conflict, Yumkela was determined to use his education to improve his nation.
I used to teach food policy. What do you do about the price of rice? How do you do rice trading? Here in Sierra Leone, I had to manage rice policy here. I managed all the most sensitive communities: rice, flour, sugar, petrol. And they were always scarce. How do you ration? In the classroom, I can draw the graphs of supply and demand. Here, I have to address it real time.
While facing these challenges, Yumkela was struck by one huge disparity between his educational host country, the U.S., and his own.
It was shocking for me to come back to Sierra Leone after 11 years in the United States. And sometimes as minister, do my work with candlelight, because I used to stay in the office late. I go home, didn't have a generator. Well, my dear friend, I was